Sharp Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com, off of Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And today I'm going to talk about the 5 ways you can tell if you're being used by a woman. The 5 ways you can tell if you're being used by a woman. And you know, I had my struggles back in the day with this. And every man at some point in time will get used by a woman. And it could be something that's very small, or something that doesn't really matter to you, but it matters to the other person that you might be dealing with. And you got some guys out here, believe it or not, they don't even care about being used by women. As long as they get the sex, they don't even care. They'll lose themselves in order to get sex. They'll sacrifice themselves in order to get the sex. There's some guys out here that's like that. They don't even care. You know, as long as they get the sex, you know, it's all good. There's some guys out here, they'll do almost anything to get sex from a woman. They'll pay bills, buy a grocery. You know, they'll take her to work back and forth every 5 days a week. They don't even care. You know, because they just focus on that sex. And they still might not get the sex, but they'll do almost anything to get it, to make it happen. And you don't even have to take that route. Really. You know, you shouldn't even put value on sex like that. You know, you shouldn't put anybody on a pedestal unless they deserve it. They have to earn it. But so, you know, because at the end of the day, you're the prize, but you just don't know it. But women, the average woman, they know you're the prize, but it's a game that they play in society, and it trickles down from big businesses to socializing with people. You know, so it's much bigger than you might think. Sometimes it's much bigger than that thing, but you know, it's just a game that's being played out here. And it's all about making money for big businesses. That's what it's really all about. It's not really about socializing with men and women at all. You know. So, you know, and a lot of this stuff if you tap into your sixth sense, your common sense, or use your critical thinking skills. And sometimes you might not, certain situations just don't feel right. And that's when you know something is just not right. And so, see, a lot of guys and women, especially women, they disregard their common sense or their sixth sense. You know, and this is why a lot of people make bad decisions and get into trouble, because when things don't feel right, they still go through it anyway. You know, so the first thing that you should know when you're being used by a woman is the time you spend around women, the quality time that you spend around women. It feels like a chore, feels like a job. It's very difficult. You know, it drains you out of all your energy. You know, it feels like it's just not enjoyable for you. It might be enjoyable for her, but not for you. And you got to bend over backwards to do stuff for her. And it's like, it just doesn't benefit you as a person being around her. You don't get better being around her. You get worse being around her. And that's when you know that, you know, y'all ain't supposed to be around each other. Y'all ain't supposed to be together. So the quality time spent around her feels like a job. And the next thing is, if something happens to you, or maybe somebody dies, maybe you wreck your car, maybe you need a ride to work, or maybe you need a favor, maybe you need a ride to the airport, or something that you might need support at doing something at some point in time in life, because we all do. But when that happens, when that time comes, this person gets missing, MIA, nowhere to be found. And if they do call you, it's a short conversation like, well, call me when you get situated, or call me when, once you get your business taken care of. They don't want to really support you or give a good word or really do anything to help the situation that you might be involved in. They don't want to have anything to do with it. They'll say something like, it's not my business or whatever. So that's a huge red flag, So in times of need, these people just get missing, which is going to be the majority of people that you run into anyway. You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. And the next thing is, these people, women, will sacrifice your well-being. So you got to look out for red flags. Like, if you're trying to do something that you probably passionate about doing, or it could be a job, or it could be something that you could make more money, they'll downplay it. They'll say something like, well, you did all right, but I've seen better. Or they'll say something like, well, you shouldn't take that job because, for what, they'll come up with any reason, every reason why you shouldn't take it, because ultimately they're thinking about what's in it for them, how it's going to benefit them. They're not thinking about how it's going to benefit you. Even though you're going to be putting in the work, but they're thinking about how it's going to take time away from what they got going on. So they'll kind of sacrifice you, downplay everything you do. And not only will they downplay everything you do, they will brag about other people doing stuff that you're already doing. But they'll downplay your stuff. And if someone else does something that's the same or similar, they'll brag about them, but say very little about you. That's a huge red flag too. I ran into a lot of women that were like this, so you got to be careful with these people. They don't have your back. They just trying to extract and get what they can get out of you until you don't have much left. And the next thing is, they're never satisfied. I'm talking like, you can do whatever, buy whatever, take her wherever. It's never enough. It's always something that you could have done better. They're never grateful for whatever you do. The expectations exceed your level of producing. Their expectations are so high of you, and very low of themselves. So, they expect you to move hell and earth for them. They expect you to be like Jesus Christ himself. But when it comes to them, it's like they feel like, you should be happy to be with them, and they don't really have to do very much to be with you. And they feel like, you should be doing something in their presence. You can't be just at the house chilling. We gotta always be out and about doing something. And that the effort that they make to do things is very little. It's kind of like, if they feel like they're better than you in some type of way, so there's a disrespectful vibe there. It's like, they feel like they're better than you, so they shouldn't have to do very much to be around you or be in your presence. You should be doing more for them and around them, because they're better than you. because of, and they came up with the reasons why they come up with these ways of thinking the majority of the time, because of has to do with who they are, where they came from, how they grew up, their nationality, their race, and their maybe their job or their education. And they look at you like, well, we didn't grow up the same, so, and my parents live probably in Boston and you live in the country of South Carolina, so they automatically think they're better than you. And you probably didn't go to college and they did, so they're better than you. So they come up with all these psychological bullshit to try to separate themselves from you, and they think they're better than you, but at the same time they want to be with you. So I'm like, well, if you think you're better than me, why be around me in the first place? It doesn't make any sense. Be with somebody that's on your level. But they don't do that. They don't do that because they know that they can't get with the guys they want to get with. That's the deal with that, you know. So just stay away from these type of women. And the last thing is, they compare you to other couples. A lot of women, they have friends that's either married or got boyfriends, and they'll say stuff like, well, Ken took my girlfriend to Hawaii. I would like to go there. They'll say stuff like that. They'll compare you to their ex-boyfriend or maybe the ex-husband or something like that. They'll try to manipulate you, make you feel bad about why you didn't do it or can't do it. And there's a good chance a lot of these women or do things that are covert, and a lot of them are master manipulators. Because a lot of times I was talking to my barber a couple days ago, and we was talking about how there's some girls that's in college that actually target guys that they want to get with, and they'll try to stay in their area or in their environment where they at, try to get close to them as much as possible and stay close to them as much as possible, because they're campaigning for these guys. So just because a guy is struggling, just because you might be struggling at a certain point in your life, and they'll go through the struggle with you, because in their mind they see you as having potential, and they think that you're going to take off and go somewhere. So as soon as you start to take off, all of a sudden they'll even get much closer to you. And a lot of these girls in college that works on the staff, they have info on guys that's probably coming and the guys that's absolutely gonna be coming in the future. So it's women that go to college, they go to college for a husband, for a long-term partner, a long-term relationship. So the women that's outside of college, they're not any different in most cases. But the only difference is they do it covert. They do it without you even realizing it. So you got to be careful when you're out and about here. You got to pay attention to what women say and how they say it, and trust yourself. Listen to your gut instincts. Use your God-given sixth sense, common sense, your critical thinking skills. Trust yourself. If you feel like something just doesn't feel right in the moment when you're about to make a decision to do something, don't do it. Don't do it. I'm telling you, every time that I went against my instincts, it always came back to bite me in the ass every time. And I knew she was gonna I knew she was a snake. But, you know, I had to take one for the team. And I didn't have anybody to be mad at but myself. So don't make those mistakes like I did. You know, if you think something doesn't feel right, or if you're around a woman and you don't like yourself more when you're around her, get away from her, man. You know, in the long run, you're going to look back and you're going to be happy that you made the right decision. Trust yourself, you know, because at the end of the day, I'm willing to bet on myself than anybody else. So if you like what you heard, check out my blog, chooseyourrelationships.com. Go buy my books, join my Players Club. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.